Good Wednesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the Internal Combustion Engine Age YouTube channel. No, get on back there. You're going the wrong way. The Internal Combustion Engine YouTube channel talks about my cars and trucks and SUVs and dogs. Scout, no. Hey, Scout, get back here. Get at the bar. Here already go. Already chasing dogs this morning. Hey, my channel, back home here from Tennessee. Come on, let's go. And got the morning routine going up north here, as everybody kind of knows. The dogs get kind of out of control here as they get them over the barn. And thanks for tuning in my channel this Wednesday morning. Wow, beautiful day. Got my brand new shirt on from down there at Bass Pro Shops. Got my shorts and flops on, the whatever you call them, the Crocs. Tell you what, wow, this is the best full-size SUV I've ever owned. This Jeep Grand Wagoneer 2022 that actually got the Hurricane, there they go, Hurricane 6-cylinder inline twin turbo motor. This thing is just, I mean, this is the nicest SUV I've ever owned. Nicest riding, power to weight ratio, room in the side. My daughter yesterday sat here in the back with all her luggage here and the dogs. Set up here in the middle. Got myself a little doggy protection area, the doggy bed area. And I just love the color interior. It has a rear moon roof there, or little sun roof, and then the main moon roof. I mean, this vehicle, just the quality, the deployable steps, the massaging seats. This seat actually goes out to support your leg more. I mean, and we can go, we go over 400 miles on one tank of fuel, so we don't even have to stop for fuel. We just have to stop to get something to eat. The infotainment center, but the power of this 6-cylinder motor on this vehicle is just phenomenal. This thing is just such a great vehicle. I mean, I would have to say that this is the best SUV I've ever purchased. You know, and keep in mind, I'm not talking about a $200,000, $300,000 car. I'm talking about the $100,000 mark at the rear, ventilation system for the air conditioning. My daughter claims that she loved riding back here. And typically, when you have these 3-row vehicles, the back third row, you're right over that axle. But since this is an airbag suspension, my daughter didn't get beat up. But I've had the Hummers and the Suburbans, and you typically get beat up big time over that rear axle and tire. So I just think that for the Jeep brand, the Grand Wagoneer is by far the best Jeep product that I have purchased. And I think the Jeep Grand Cherokee L here, I haven't spent enough time behind the wheel to give a real sincere opinion on that. I think it's a great car, but I haven't driven it much. But my other Grand Cherokees were very nice vehicles, and that's got the V8 motor. So, you know, so what's going on here? Back to the grind, and missing a few vehicles because some are down in Tennessee, one being the Ford Bronco that's being worked on. You know that story if you're watching my channel. And the fleet of Fords. I got to get that Ford Tremor truck down there, get an emissions inspection and Virginia inspection. The Virginia stuff, I can't stand it. Virginia's such freaking, every year you get the damn car inspected, emissions, all this crap. But anyways, yeah, the garage kind of got thinned out. Come on there. Come on, let's go, Scout. Come on. So, yeah, the best. I thought to myself this morning, all right, back in the shop. See here, it's thinned out. Where is everything, right? And what's the story of the Bronco, right? So let's get everything here in order. Wow, this is the helicopter. Boy, we got a lot of noise going on here this morning. Let's see what's going on here. Look behind me. Yep. What rich person is in that, right? Yeah, what rich ass person's riding that helicopter right now? And, you know, helping compound the carbon footprint, right? Here's the Scat Pack. That's just such a great car. A Charger, red eye. It's just hard to believe that thing isn't gonna bring the big money. So the birds moved back in. incredible. Bird's just totally, oh, my light's on. No, it can't be. That's just, no, it's on. What the hell is that all about? That's so strange. Anyways, so what are we talking about this morning? I think we're talking about the best of times, the best of the Ice Age, and the stairs here, and dogs are accounted for, and back to the routine, right? Believe for me in life, we were leaving Wednesday a week ago. So, and we're back now. It's a week later. Wow, time. And my Bronco part did not come in yesterday. Let me get my little tripod here set up because down in Tennessee I forgot to bring that thing. I should just buy another one. Right, Just the simple things. But it's a little different down there in the house. If I start talking, it kind of gets too noisy because sometimes the others are still sleeping and doing their thing. So I kind of try to stay out of their space. That's why I go outside. Get my computer logged in without spilling my coffee here. Oh my goodness. So yeah, the Ford Bronco, is that the best Bronco I've bought yet out of 4 Bronco purchases? I've been pretty fortunate. This one has the issue with the valve cover, and I was hoping that the valve cover would come in yesterday morning, but nope. So right now, you'd probably think, even if I get that thing fixed today, I'm not going back down. So it'll probably be next week before we go back down. So that Bronco Raptor just going to sit in their back lot, I guess, for a week or so. Or who knows? Maybe I can hit the part until, who knows? I'm not really worried about it, whatever. The vehicle sat on a lot and sat somewhere from November of last year till I bought it. Hard to believe that vehicle was built in November last year, same time my Cactus Gray was. And I'm just I should have driven that vehicle more. That's anybody who buys a new car out there, or even a used car, it's really advantageous for you to drive it around a good 1,000+ miles before you take it on a road trip. Because if anything's wrong with that, car, that's usually when it's going to happen. So I thought to myself this morning, why don't we talk about the best of times for the Ice Age? I mean, I think right now, more than ever in my lifetime, we are at the highest level ever of the best times for the Ice Age. Just the overall quality, performance, horsepower, pricing. I don't know. I don't know if I could agree with the best of times for pricing. I don't think that would be, correct. But I think as far as just like that Jeep Grand Wagoneer, I just can't get over how nice that vehicle is. And my wife drove it back for the most part yesterday, and I drove it. I probably drove a good 100 miles or so. And then I turned it over to her, and man, she just gets up the road in that thing. A few times, like, hey, honey, you do not want to get caught at that speed in Virginia. You're going to get reckless. She goes passing some people. And my wife just isn't like that. She's not like a high-speed driver. So the point is that thing just hauls tail. So for the Jeep brand, I would have to say right now, the Jeep Grand Wagoneer is the best product, I think, in that category they've brought to the market in modern times. And just wow. It just until you drive that vehicle, I mean, here's the thing. I had the Ford Expedition. I am so glad that Ford Expedition that I ordered, the deal didn't go down. I just couldn't get excited about it. The Ford Power Boost that I have ruined that Ford Expedition because it just didn't have the power. And that Ford, or I should say the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, the power in that thing is phenomenal. I waited for that inline 6 twin turbo Hurricane motor. I didn't want that V8 392. I've had too many of them. And I am so glad I waited because you get 20 miles per gallon on the highway. I mean, you get 20 miles a gallon. You're going to get a solid 18 around town and getting your foot into it. But the biggest thing is it's just powerful. It just rock and rolls down the road like nothing. So for Jeep, I think the Grand Wagoneer is the best product they've brought in that category. Now, you go to the mid-size SUVs like the Grand Cherokee. I haven't driven enough to really say. Like I had the Ford Explorers; those were nice. They were nice, but at the same time, they just, I kind of, it didn't have the quality feel to it. The interior just felt so cheesy. Nice vehicle, fast. A lot of guys would tune them, but just So the Grand Cherokee, new Grand Cherokee, that new interior, that new just really upscale luxury package, the V8 motor is still available in it. I think that's a win. I think that possibly could be another win for the Jeep brand of just being the best product in that category. It still gives you that SUV V8 grunt fun. The V6, it's just like the Jeep brand. So when you go to Jeep Wrangler, I'm going to say the Ford Bronco is the best. But in some aspects, somebody say, yeah, but they've had so many problems. Yeah, they have. But as far as just the driving of the Ford Bronco, that Bronco is just such a capable, confident, comfortable, powerful. I mean, it just wins in so many segments of an over-the-road vehicle that is just such a great vehicle over the Jeep Wrangler. Wrangler is so traditional Jeep. So if you're such a Jeep fanatic, addict, and you truly like that solid front and rear axle, and you just like the Jeep aesthetics, then yeah, I mean, the Jeep's a nice product. But I think when it goes to the best side, I think the Bronco wins in that segment. Now, when we go to the trucks, and we go to full-size trucks, that's a tough one because the technology and the product of the brand, Ram and Chevy and Ford and GMC, I mean, it's through the roof. And I really think that just comes down to more what fits the seat of your pants. I mean, I think if anything, because for me, the Ram 1500, I had a 2019 limited, fully loaded, had all the options, and I mean, just a really, it's just a great vehicle. I mean, airbag, suspension, blah blah blah. The list goes on and on and on. And for me, that vehicle was too much like an SUV. So I just didn't really like that truck. I mean, I didn't. It was a beautiful truck. It was a great truck, but it was too SUV. It didn't give me that truck feel. But then you go to the. Then I had a Chevy Silverado. I had like a 2018, I think. I think it was 2018 Chevy Silverado, LTZ package, and that really was a 5.3, the small block motor in it. That was really a great vehicle, a great fuel mileage. Interior, cheesy. Interior just was weak. It just was dark. It was a white truck. But overall, it was a nice truck. Underpowered, though. Didn't really have the power, that small block. But it got great fuel mileage. And it rode respectable. But it wasn't like over the top. The fuel mileage was over the top of that vehicle. That vehicle got like 25 to 27 miles a gallon, close to 30 miles per gallon on highway trips if you didn't really just dog it. So then you go to the Ford product, and the Ford Raptor, which is what totally changed me from the Ram guy to the Ford guy. So when I got that Ford Raptor, oh my gosh, that was the best. I would say that was the baddest ass factory truck I've ever purchased in my lifetime. And I mean, that thing was just, it converted me over to the Ford brand. So the Ford Raptor, I think, was the best Ford product truck-wise in the fun factor side of anybody out there that I think was just incredible. And even to the point that I haven't driven the Ford Raptor R, and I would think that thing would be every bit, if not more fun than the Ram TRX. Even though, I don't know, I really couldn't honestly answer that question without spending time in the Raptor R. I've driven the Ram TRX numerous times now. The Ram TRX is nice. It's a truck. It drives more like, to me, borderline like a 2,500 truck. It's just such a big animal. But back into the half-ton trucks with Ford, for me, the Ford Tremor F-150 truck, I thought was the baddest ass, nicest package, practical purchase yet. So I really, in the fall of 2021, I was bragging about that Ford F-150 Tremor truck being borderline the Raptor cousin, which it was in so many ways. And I really thought that was the best Ford half-ton truck they've ever brought to market. Now you fast forward, I have to say it's the Ford Power Boost. And anybody watch my channel, I'll be like, yeah, but you just whatever you own now, you say is the best. Well, in all sincereness, for me, it isn't about because I own it, it's the best. I'm just sharing with me my experience of these different vehicles I've owned. And the Ford Power Boost to me is the best half-ton truck that I've owned yet to date. That is just an incredibly comfortable truck-like driving truck, incredible power for the setup, incredible towing capability, and respectable fuel mileage. It's not as great as I thought it would be, but it's respectable. And just the overall package, I think the Ford F-150 Power Boost should win in the half-ton truck market. The Ram, nope. The Chevy, nope. GMC, no. The Nissan, it's not really. The Toyota Tundra, I've driven the Toyota Tundra. No way. A Toyota Tundra is not close to that Power Boost. So for the Ford product, I think I would give them the best overall win for the Ford F-150 Power Boost setup. But I haven't driven the new Chevys, and those are great vehicles. But at the same time, I just think the overall package, the Blue Cruise technology, the adaptive cruise control, that's a whole other thing. That Jeep Grand Wagoneer, that adaptive cruise control is very in tune, and it's really is been massaged where it really does make it efficient for you to use that, and it's not wacky on you. And I'm surprised that I think Jeep just isn't there on the hands free. They're just still, it's the R&D, it's the money. So, anyways, here we go. So anyways, it's all about the best. What's the best out there, and then for me, we could take it to the cars, and I felt like the GT 500 was the best performance overall fun factor car over the Dodge Hellcats. Just overall fun car. I think the GT 500 is a funner car than the Dodge Hellcats. Dodge Hellcats, I think they look badass. I think they have the Challenger has such the retro, cool look, incredible over-the-road car. They are badass. But at the same time, the GT 500, it is such more of a fun, like race sport car that it's just a whole different connection when you drive the GT 500. It's so much more fun. It just has the changeable exhaust, the changeable suspension, and sure, the Dodge has that, but then the rev matching, and it's just a little smaller platform, the interior's a little smaller, so it just gives you much more of a race feel. So for me, and at the end of the day, if it wasn't for Dodge not making the Dodge Challenger Hellcat anymore, I wouldn't have let go of my GT 500s. I would have kept one, just because I think that the Dodge isn't as fun as the GT 500. I mean, it looks badass. It's definitely a great vehicle. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, in general, I think the better of the two is the GT 500. And then we could go into, the mid-size, the smaller trucks. And I've had all the Toyota Tierra Pros, 2017, 2018. And I sold those for the Ford Ranger. I felt like the Ford Ranger was the old man's truck. It was more the comfortable vehicle. I just think that that Ford Ranger Tremor I sold for that Ford F-250 Tremor, yeah, how stupid was it to do that, right? I mean, that was a great ride. That was a great truck. But it still had a little bit of a soft ride to it. But overall, that was a great vehicle. And, best-wise, everything to say the Toyota Tacoma, no way. Toyota Tacoma, that frickin' V6 motor to me, it's underpowered. Pedal to the metal to get it to go anywhere. You had to have pedal to metal. Your body position in the vehicle pushes you into the windshield. Your stature, you're into the headliner of the Toyota. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a Toyota Tacoma guy. I've had so many of them. But I'm just telling you, the Toyota Tacoma to me, it's everybody will say, well, it'll go longer, go further, it'll last longer. I see so many Ford Ranger pickups out there that are like 20, 30 years old. Anybody notice that? Especially going to these rural areas, you see these old Ford Rangers have been around for 20, 30 years, if not longer, 40 years. Yeah, I mean, I see more of those than I do Toyota Tacomas. So for me, the Toyota Tacoma, nice vehicle. Yeah, I mean, they're cool looking, but they just didn't give me, and that's what I say. It all comes down to fits the seat of your pants, then that can turn into an argument. That many people argue all day that the Toyota Tacoma Charity Pro, and I don't disagree, that's going to hold its value. It's badass ass looking. It's going to outdo the Ranger. But in that segment, yeah, so I'd have to say, even though the new GMC Canyon and the Chevy Colorado, the ZR2 package, the Bison package, I mean, those things now are serious contenders. And I really haven't been into those. So, yeah, it is. But it goes back to Toyota's looked at, perceived at as the better built truck, the longer lasting truck, the less problems of the truck, and the list goes on and on and on. So, yeah, that can go many different directions. For me, I like the Ford Ranger, but is it the best of those? No, it's not. Then you can go to the Mini, the Ford Maverick. I think that little thing was the baddest ass mini truck you could ever buy. And should I get another one? It's kind of interesting how I got rid of the Maverick for the Jeep Gladiator. But the thing about the Jeep Gladiator is you kind of just more or less kind of slide in. Only downside to the Maverick is you do kind of have to crouch down to get in and out of it, and you are very low to the ground. So when you drive down the road in that Maverick, you can't really see. You're in a car. And for me, living on the roads, one advantage of me living in my bigger vehicles is you can see over the cars, you can see further down the road, and the access to the vehicle, exit and entry, exit, is so much easier on a vehicle that's not too high up in the air, but it's where you just slide in. Versus I've worked out of cars over the years, having to crawl on your hands and knees to get in the car and get out of the car. You do that 20, 30 times in the daytime, that wears you out. And then the way you sit in the car, I talked about this in great length here a while back about how are you in the captain's chair or are you sitting with your tailbone on the floor of the truck and your arm and your legs. This is your body. These are your legs. Here's your body. Versus the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, here's your legs. Here's your body. You're sitting in a captain's chair. When you sit in a vehicle that's like this, it just wears you out. So the Maverick, so many aspects. The Maverick was the better overall package for what I do, but at the same time, sitting low to the ground. And I really like that Tremor package. So, me, I'll probably end up having another Ford Maverick. Probably be the Tremor package. But, we'll see how that all plays out. But you can't get them. Can't order them. Ford isn't doing a very good job of that. So, not really much competition for the Ford Mini Maverick. So, that wins, in my eyes, the best side of the market. Then you go to the motorcycles. And for me, even though I grew up on Yamahas and Hondas, for the most part Yamahas, I'm the bagger guy, the Harley Davidson, the Honda Goldwing, the Indian Chieftain, the Indian Roadmaster. And for those bikes, even though years ago, Indian really wasn't the prevalent product in this market, 10 years ago, Indian wasn't around here, per se. And they're still going through their financial struggles. But for today, I'm going to say the Indian motorcycle is the better of the two. It's the better motorcycle, I feel like, than the Harley. And I haven't gotten on the brand new Street Glide CVO that they're releasing with the 121 motor. I guess this, so you can't, for the brand new ones, I can't speak a lot. But if there anything similar to the Street Glide foundation, I just can't see the CVO being much different than my Street Glide that I have. That's a 2022. And I just, once again, I've talked in great length about the Indian products. And I just think in the bagger side of it, the Indian has the more confident, more room, just the nicer setup motorcycle. And I've gone to great. So that's, I think that Indian is the best of the two on that side. But then some could argue, but what about the BMW, then the Honda Goldwing? Well, no doubt. I mean, if you want to start going to the foreign manufacturers, yeah, right. The Honda Goldwing, yeah. Yeah, is that thing an incredible motorcycle? Yeah. But I mean, if you're talking about the V twin, air cooled, traditional Harley versus Indian, true, origins of this country, then yeah, I think that the Indian product is the better of the two. It's the best. I think that Indian right now is bringing the best motorcycles to market to date ever. Yeah, all right. So it's all about the best, the best, the best. I just really want to talk about that Grand Wagoneer. I can't emphasize enough. Anybody out there that is in the market for a really nice full-size SUV, I can't emphasize enough that Jeep Grand Wagoneer, the Grand Wagoneer, not the Wagoneer. The Wagoneer is going to be not an airbag suspension, not going to have the amenities, not going to have that nice interior. You're not going to be able to get that Hurricane motor. I don't know on that for sure. It may be changing. I think you can get the 5.7 Hemi motor in it. You can't get the 6.2 or 6.4. I mean, so but I don't know. I'm not 2023, 2024. Can you get the Hurricane motor? I don't know why you couldn't. But the whole point is, I'm talking about the Grand Wagoneer. I'm not talking about the Wagoneer, and that's something that a lot of people don't realize. Even my daughter's like driving down the road. They got one. They got one. I'm like, yeah, but those are Wagoneers. And she's like, what? I'm like, look at the back of the tailgate. It says Grand Wagoneer. That vehicle you just looked at says Wagoneer. It's a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 spread in price in so many aspects of one versus the other. So that was really what intrigued my conversation this morning. Is after riding in that Grand Wagoneer, that thing is just an incredible, nice vehicle. And for anybody who has, 2, 3 kids, 4 kids, that vehicle is very accommodating, and you can get the Grand Wagoneer L. If you had I would say if you have 2 or 3 kids, I would get the L, just so you have much more room in the back, and then you can utilize that 3-row capability. And wow, I can't. And anybody that's on the budget, the Wagoneer is fine. I mean, I think that would be a very nice vehicle. But being it's a spring suspension in the rear, I think people are going to feel more of that rear axle, that rear, tire and wheel under them in the 3rd row seat. But at the same time, it's all about budgeting your money, and the 5.7 motor's plenty. I don't know if the fuel mileage is going to be on it. That Hurricane's incredible. So I think to myself, we are at the best of times. I truly believe of the Ice Age vehicles as the EV age is being forced onto us, even to the point that the new addendum bill to the Inflation Reduction Act for the Financially Fiscal Responsibility Act is like the Financial Responsibility Act is what Kevin McCarthy and Joe Biden have come to agreement on and want the House to pass or the Senate to pass or the Congress to pass for the final bill. But there was language of taking away the EV credits and the support of the 500,000 EV charging stations, and there's a lot of language in there initially that they're trying to take that away to cut down the government's spending and fiscal responsibility. But apparently they took that away as far as what they were going to remove and put it back in place. So anybody who wants to buy an EV and get the tax credit, that's going to stay in place. For all the people who want to build out infrastructure for the 500,000 charging stations to get rewarded from the tax subsidies, that's going to be in place. And we want to build a battery factory and battery manufacture or electric vehicle manufacturing, that's going to stay in place. So all that bill that they're doing addendum to the Inflation Reduction Act, where the government's spending money like never seen, those EV agendas aren't being taken away. They're going to continue to be supported. So is the government, I have to try to think to myself, are we at the best of times of our governing bodies? I mean, sincerely, does anybody feel like we are at the age of so much technology, so much advancement of what I just spoke about, just the cars and the motorcycles? We could go on and on forever. That they're growing, technology, and the growing, people like athletes have become better than ever. And you can go through the infinite things of what's going on around us. The artificial intelligence, which I'm not so sure that's the best of times for us in the future. But it's just the list could grow substantially, where I'd spend all day talking about everything But I then think to myself, are we in the best of times of our governing bodies, in our educational system? And I just think to myself, in our policing and our military. And you'd have to honestly say that no, here we are at the best of times of technology and manufacturing and so many other variables there. But yet, when it comes to the actual governing bodies and other things that are happening, does it seem like those are becoming better? That their goal was to be better? Isn't that the thing about life? That you like to be the best at whatever you do? Isn't that kind of how we operate? When you go do a project, your goal is for it to come out really nice. Whatever endeavor you take on, you want to be the best at what you can do. I mean, isn't that what racing's about? Who's the better of the race drivers, in sports and business, building things? I mean, that goes on and on and on. But yet, it seems like the people that get elected as our officials, what are their real, with intentions, besides what so many feel that they're being bribed and paid off by others that don't have such great intentions? And what comes from it doesn't become things becoming better, but things are becoming worse. So, do we live in the best of times of political leadership? Do we live in the best of times of business leadership? Do we live in the best of times of military leadership? I mean, and so, wow, here we are in the Ice Age, what I feel is the best of times that I've seen yet in my lifetime, in modern times. But yet I'm witnessing borderline the worst of times of of what our country's going through, and the division that we have among us on what's right versus wrong. Beyond believable. Unbelievable. What's going on in our country right now. And as everybody knows, now the next focus will be for the next 2 years, year and a half, is different leaders trying to present themselves that they can do a better job, be better for the country, or the existing leaders will convince people that they are doing the better job and they are better for the country, and don't make the mistake of letting them not be in power. Wow. That'll get deep. I'm just not going to do it. I just like to make videos and try to talk about the cars and trucks and motorcycles, and it's just kind of relate that to what the state of times are. And it's to me, so opposite. I mean, come on. Does anybody watch? Is anybody listening or watching what's going on around us? Wow. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks once again for watching my channel. Going to cut it off there. Kind of getting a little lengthy here, and appreciate all the support and all the nice comments, and share the channel, and that would be great. And once again, everybody have a great day. Stay tuned. What am I doing next? What happened to the slingshot, right? What happened to the slingshot? Hey, stay tuned. Hey, everybody. God bless. Stay safe. Have a great day.